everyone, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jayden and today I'm going to be going over my 22 anticipated releases in 2022. So I'm going to go in the order in which these books are coming out in the year 2022. I'll insert a picture over here of the covers if they've been released, which to my understanding I'm pretty sure. Sorry, I had to fix the exposure, it was a little too bright. Like I said, I'm going to go in the order in which they were released, and I'm pretty sure all book covers have been released at this point, so I will show pictures of them over here. So the first book is Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. I'm really excited for this book. It comes out January 4th, 2022. I've already pre-ordered it. I'm just going to do like a brief description of each book, otherwise this video is going to be way long. But this book pretty much is a book about a couple are hired to sail two women to a remote island in the South Pacific, which seems like an opportunity of the lifetime. But something happens and there is lots of shipwrecks, cannibalism, and even rumors of murder going on. That's all I'm gonna say about it. It's a thriller. I'm really excited for it, so I will definitely be reading that book in January. The next book that I was excited for and still am is A Flicker in the Dark. However, because it's part of Book of the Month and I'm currently reading it, I'm not including it. But I'm not going to be including it in the video anymore because I won't be reading it in 2022. I'm reading it now. So the next book is Weather Girl by Rachel Lynn Solomon. This book comes out January 11th. I read The X Talk earlier this year and absolutely loved it. I gave that book 5 stars, and I know she has 2 books coming out this year. Sorry, next year, but I'm most excited for Weather Girl. That is a romance. This book follows a TV meteorologist and sports recruiter, so that's really fascinating. I feel like a lot of her romances have the main characters have cool jobs like that, because the X Talk, they were radio hosts, I believe, or like they did a podcast. I can't exactly remember. This book also takes place in Seattle, which is super cool because that's where I live. I won't be in Seattle anymore when this book comes out on January 11th because I'm moving to a different state, but I'm still gonna read it because it's really fascinating reading a book that is taking place where you're familiar with. So, but I'm thinking that this is an enemies to lovers, which is my favorite romance trope, so I'm excited for that. The next book is obviously one that everyone is going to read. I've already pre-ordered it, and that is Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. I'm really excited for this book. I love Colleen Hoover. I try to read one of her books every single month, so obviously my January book is going to be Reminders of Him. This book is obviously a romance. It's Colleen Hoover. They're all romances pretty much, or like with the exception of Verity, that was like kind of thriller but also had romance in there. This book follows a woman who was serving 5 years in prison after a tragic mistake, and she wants to be reunited with her 4-year-old daughter, but she burned bridges and they seem impossible to rebuild. Ooh, interesting. And then the next book is Greenwich Park by Katherine Bulkner. This book comes out January 25th. This is also a thriller, and I'm pretty sure she's a debut author. Let me double check. Pull it up. Yes, she's a debut author. Katherine Bulkner, debut author. It's compared to The Girl on the Train, which I didn't really care for that book, if I'm being honest, but we'll see how it goes. This book is about Helen. She has a handsome architecture husband. She has a gorgeous Victorian house and has a cherished baby on the way. After years of trying, begins to change the day she attends her first prenatal class and meets Rachel, an unpredictable single mother-to-be. Rachel doesn't seem very maternal. She smokes, drinks, and professes little interest in parenthood. Ooh, so Helen goes to a prenatal class and meets Rachel, who doesn't seem to be very interested in being a mom. That sounds right up my alley. There was a Lifetime movie, I think, kind of similar to that, and I was really into it. I don't remember what it was called, but I'm excited for this book. I'm going to pre-order it as well. The next book is the second book to Finlay Finlay Donovan is killing it, to this one's called Finlay Donovan Knocks Him Dead. This comes out February 1st. I'm not going to talk about it at all because it picks up right where the first book left off, but I read the first book and I enjoyed it, so I'm excited for this one. Sorry, my bangs are really irking me today. They're really long. Next book comes out February 22nd, and that is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. I read the guest list earlier this year, absolutely loved it, read that book super quick and gave it 5 stars. The Paris Apartment is about, this is another thriller by the way, most books I read are thrillers and romances for the most part. So this book is about Jess. She needs a fresh start, she's broken alone, and she just left her job under less than ideal circumstances. Her brother Ben didn't sound thrilled when she asked if she could crash with him for a bit, but he didn't say no, and surely everything will look better from Paris. Ooh, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I really like going into books not knowing anything, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. The next book is The Night Shift by Alex Finlay. This book comes out March 1st. I read Every Last Fear by Alex Finlay. Absolutely loved it, so you bet your bottom dollar I'm excited for this one. This is another thriller. This book is about, it's New Year's Eve 1999. So this Y2K is expected to end in chaos. Planes falling from the sky, elevators plunging to earth, world markets collapsing, a digital apocalypse. None of that happens, but at Blockbuster Video in Linden, New Jersey, 4 teenage girls working the night shift are attacked. Interesting. Another book that comes out on March 1st is the second book in the It Happened One Summer series, or the Bellinger Sisters series. That is Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. I'm really excited for this. I'm pretty sure this book is, this book is Fox and Hannah's perspective, which I'm really excited for, so that's gonna be fun. The next book is also March 1st, and this book is One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. This is a romance, I believe. I've heard good things about this book. It has a 4.11 rating so far. So this book says, when Katie's mother dies, she is left reeling. Carol wasn't just Katie's mom, but her best friend and first phone call. Oof, this is gonna be a good book because my mama is my best friend. I'm excited for that one. The next book is The Golden Couple by Grier, Hendrix, and Sarah Peckinen. March 8th is when it's released. So this is a thriller as well. This book, the description says, if Avery Chambers can't fix you in 10 sessions, she won't take you on as a client. Oh, it's about, seems like a therapist or a psychologist. Dang, so many people on my friends list have already read this. Her successes are phenomenal. She helps people overcome everything from domineering parents to assault. Ooh, excited for that one. And then the next book is March 15th, and that is The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. I'm obviously very excited for this book because I loved The Broken Girls and The Sundown Motel. Both were super creepy and super fascinating. I'm not sure if this is considered a horror or a thriller. Either way, I'm excited for it. Books don't scare me, hardly ever. So maybe this book will. So this book follows a true crime blogger, and she's interviewing a woman acquitted of 2 cold cases. This book takes place in 1977 and 2017. I love when her books do that. Keeps me hooked. Okay, moving on to April. We have The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth. This comes out April 5th. I still haven't read any of her books, but I'm really intrigued by The Mother-in-Law and The Good Sister, so I will get to those eventually, hopefully. But this book follows a man named Stephen who is getting married again. The only problem is he's still married to his first wife, even though she's in a care facility for dementia. But he'll take care of that easily by divorcing her, even if his adult daughter protests. Wow, that sounds fascinating. Okay, next is April 26th, and that is An Honest Lie by Taryn Fisher. I don't think this book has a cover yet. I'll have to check. This book says, I'm going to kill her. You'd better come if you want to save her. Lorraine Rainey lives at the top of Tiger Mountain, remote and moody in the pine trees and fog. It's a sanctuary and new light. She can hide from the disturbing past she wants to forget if she's allowed to. Intriguing. Another book that comes out on April 26th is The Children on the Hill by Jennifer Mcmahon. I'm really excited for this one. Honestly, I'm really excited about all of these, so I'm just going to stop saying that. So this book follows, I believe this one's a horror as well. This book follows a woman named Helen. She is an acclaimed, brilliant psychiatrist and her compassionate work with the mentally ill, but she's home with her cherished grandchildren, V and Eric. She's just a gran, teaching them how to take care of their pets, preparing them home-cooked meals, and providing them with care and attention and love. Then one day, Gran brings home a child to stay with the family, Iris. Silent, hollow-eyed, skittish, and feral, does not behave like a normal girl. Still, Violet, or Vi, or V, is thrilled to have a new playmate. She and Eric invite Iris to join their monster club, where they catalog all kinds of monsters and dream up ways to defeat them. Before long, Iris begins to come out of her shell. She and Vi and Eric do everything together, ride their bicycles, go to the drive-in, meet at their clubhouse in secret to hunt monsters. Whoa. So that was in 1978. Then in 2019, so it jumps back to do 2 different time zones like it does in The Drowning Kind. And then the last book that comes out on April 26th is One of Us is Dead by Geneva Rose. She wrote The Perfect Marriage, and I read that earlier this year and absolutely loved it and gave it 5 stars. So obviously I'm excited for this one. I just said I was going to stop saying that and I said it again. Ignore me. So this is another thriller. Says, meet the woman of Buckhead, a place of expensive cars, huge houses, and competitive friendships. Shannon was once the queen bee of Buckhead, but she's dumped by Bryce, her politician husband. When Bryce replaces her with a much younger woman, Shannon sets out to take revenge. Dun 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 dun. Okay, moving on to May. We have May 3rd, Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I'm really hoping that that is a Book of the Month selection because I have Beach Read in Book of the Month. I don't know if you can see. I have Beach Read in Book of the Month, and I have People We Meet on Vacation on Book of the Month, and I absolutely need Book Lovers to match the others. So let's just pray it comes out on Book of the Month. Like I said, that comes out May 3rd. Then we have May 17th, My Summer Darlings by May Cobb. I read The Hunting Wives by her earlier this year. Absolutely loved it. So I'm excited for that one. I'll give you a brief synopsis. 3 lifelong friends plus a dangerous, sexy new stranger in town add up to a scorching summer of manipulation, obsession, and murder. A woman in the forest thinks she's going to die. I know he's coming back for me. Jen Hansen, Kitty Spears, and Cynthia Nichols have been friends since childhood. They are now approaching 40, and their lives have changed, but their insular East Texas town has not. Fascinating. I love books that take place in Texas. I'm really fascinated with Texas. So that one sounds really fun. Then we have Can't Look Away by Carola Lovering. That comes out June 14th. I read Too Good to Be True. Absolutely loved it. So I obviously had to add this book to my anticipated releases in 2022 list. This is a sexy suspense novel about a kind of addictive, obsessive love that keeps you coming back no matter how hard you try to look away. I thought it was going to be a thriller, but that makes it sound like a romance. Let's see. In 2013, 23-year-old Molly Diamond is a barista dreaming of becoming a writer. One night at a concert in East Williamsburg, she locks eyes with the lead singer Jake Danner and can't look away. Molly and Jake fall quickly and deeply in love, especially after he writes a hit song about her that puts his band on the map. Nearly a decade later, Molly has given up writing and is living in Flynn Cove, Connecticut, with her daughter and her husband, Hunter, who is decidedly not Jake Danner. Ooh, I wonder why they didn't end up together. We may never know until June 14th. Then obviously June 21st, the new Riley Sager book, The House Across the Lake. That book sounds super, super intriguing. I love Riley Sager. I've read all of his books and I will read anything with his name on it. So I don't even know what this book is about. I just saw that it was coming out and instantly added it to my want to read. So this book follows Rolling Stone Casey Fletcher. That's my maiden name, so I'm already super intrigued. A recently widowed actress trying to escape a streak of bad press has retreated to the peace and quiet of her family's lake house in Vermont. Armed with a pair of binoculars and several bottles of liquor, she passes the time watching Tom and Katherine Royce, the glamorous couple who live in the house across the lake. They make for good viewing. A tech innovator, Tom, is rich, and former model, Katherine, is gorgeous. One day on the lake, Casey saves Katherine from drowning, and the two strike up a budding friendship. That's all I'm going to read about that. I don't want to know too much of it, although I probably won't even remember by the time that book comes out. And then we have July 12th, which is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. I'm excited for this, but also a little iffy and nervous because I pre-ordered the Final Girl Support Group and read it immediately once it came out. And it was so, not a good book for me. I rated it 3 stars, so when it won the Goodreads Choice Awards, I was very shocked and surprised. But I'm going to give him another chance, and I'm going to pre-order this one and I'm going to read it and we'll see how it goes. So this book, it says Grady Hendrix takes on the haunted house in a hilarious and terrifying new novel that explores the way your past and your family can haunt you like nothing else. Like, it sounds really intriguing. So we'll see how it all comes together. The next book is The It Girl by Ruth Ware. I just saw that this book was coming out and instantly added it because I love her. So I'm really excited to read this one. It says this one follows April Cutts Cliveden was the first person Hannah Jones met at Oxford. Vivacious, bright, occasionally vicious, and the ultimate it girl, she quickly pulled Hannah into her dazzling orbit. Together they developed a group of devoted and inseparable friends, Will, Hugh, Ryan, and Emily, during their first term. By the end of the second, April was dead. Now, a decade later, Hannah and Will are expecting their first child, and the man convicted of killing April, former Oxford reporter John Novell, has died in prison. Relieved to have finally put the past behind her, Hannah's world is rocked when a young journalist comes knocking and presents new evidence that Novell may have been innocent. As Hannah reconnects with old friends, delves deeper into the mystery of April's death, she realizes that the friends she thought she knew all have something to hide, including a murder. If that doesn't sound like the most intriguing book ever, then I don't know what does, because that book, intriguing. And then the last book comes out April 30th, and that's by Alice Feeney, called Daisy Darker. Obviously, after reading Rock, Paper, Scissors, I will read anything that she puts her name on. So that's that. This is another thriller. It's a psychological suspense with a spectacular twist from the internationally best-selling author Alice Feeney. So it says, Daisy Darker's family were as dark can be. When one of them died, all of them lied and pretended not to see. That kind of sounds like a riddle, and I'm really vibing with that. Daisy Darker is arriving at her grandmother's house for her 80th birthday. It is Halloween in Sea Glass, the crumbling Cornish house perched upon its own tiny private island is at one with the granite rocks it sits on. The Darker family haven't all been in the same place for over a decade. When the tide comes in, they'll be cut off for the rest of the world for 8 hours. When the tide goes back out, nothing will ever be the same again, because one of them is a killer. Interesting. But that is all the books that I'm super excited to read that come out in 2022. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a comment down below letting me know if any of these are on your anticipated releases list, and give this video a thumbs up. Okay, bye.